Hello everyone, Husnan Hamid here, your broker and a coach, and Snober Naz. Today she was conducting very good training. We are here in High Point Homes Realty Brokerage. Usually we hear from different people that if the buyer does not close the property, lots of lawsuits and lots of litigation is involved when the buyer, obviously usually their deposit is being forfeited. But we never heard that if the seller does not want to close the property, is there any remedy for the buyer?
Yes, this is a good question, Husnan. I will definitely would like to give an answer. If seller and buyer entered into a firm agreement and the seller failed to close the deal on the closing date, and buyer definitely have a remedy because buyer can send the tender notice on the closing date through the lawyers to the seller. This is the first step. And the second step, the buyer will take this matter to the court, and for the relief they can ask for the return of deposit will not be used if buyer can seek a remedy is called specific performance. Specific performance means if buyer want to close the deal and want this property and seller fail to close this, and buyer cannot ask for the return of deposit because buyer want the specific performance, the possession of the property on the closing date. And in alternative, if court do not grant this remedy, then alternative, the buyer can ask for the damages, for the general damages for any losses the buyer suffered. But most likely the buyer will go for the specific performance, and the court can make an order to the seller to close this deal is the specific performance, because there is certain conditions need to be satisfied. The buyer must have to prove to the court through the evidence that I was willing at the time of the closing, even up to the conclusion of the trial, I was willing and I'm willing to close this deal. I want to get the possession of the property. That's why this basically specific performance remedy usually court can grant it.
So this is a good news for the buyers too. Let's say that if the sellers upon closing, they just say that no, I don't want to sell my property because my family loves this property. So the buyers can also go after the seller.
Yes.
And the court can enforce that they have to close this property.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
And for any other legal advice, you definitely want to contact none other than Snober Naz.